Hey, how are you doing? Wait, I shouldn't ask. I hope you're doing well, is what I meant to say. Can you hear me? That's my question. You probably can. But can you hear me well enough? You probably also can. Alright, so how are you doing? Oh shit, wait, I hope you're doing okay. That's what I meant. Right, and with that out of the way. Hey, awkward Saturday with like some martial arts shit, right? And I gotta remember what the fuck I told you last time, because who the fuck cares? Like, you don't remember, and I don't remember, so I can talk about anything I want. You know, you're supposed to remember and ask me shit, you know? And if you don't, that's okay. I guess that's like lost knowledge now or something. Um, it's whatever. I wanted, like, I think I had forgotten, so let's see. First of all, camera. Let's fucking go. You know the fucking drill. I'm not escaping the camera thing, am I? Okay? So, Jesus Christ. Let me first find like some music, okay? First, I'll find some music. Then you can tell me I'm cute. Thank you. I like you too. One second though. Let's see. It should be. Let's try this. Okay, let's try this. Let's see what that brings up. Ooh, what is that? Down, okay. Let me see. What's that like? Nah, dude, no, that's not like my. Yeah, this is more my vibe, okay? This is more my vibe. Let's find the appropriate, like, you know, bullshit. Is this okay for you sound wise? You okay? Do you want it to be lower or what? I could be louder. What, like this? Like here? Is that it? Is that what's happening? Yeah? Or even louder, like what do you want? Here? Do you want it like that? What about this? This is good? Okay. I can go lower if you want. That's what she said, but I can go lower if you want. I really intend the music to be more for me, less for you, and I want it to be very minimal. I want it to be in the background completely, you know? Like it's there, but it's also kinda not there, you know? Kinda like that. Like, am I listening to something? Am I not listening to something? That kind of thing. Something to trick your brain, I guess. But I guess this is good. I think you're saying this is good, so I'll just like respect that. Okay, alright, okay, so. Uh, the hard part. Wait, before the hard part, 1 second. Okay, alright, so hard part time. Hi. Okay, so now you can hear me, you can hear the music. We talked about all the bullshit like, you know, going away from the guy or whatever, your target. We talked about all that, like the many ways of like moving and like maybe just like rooting your leg or like not rooting your leg, depending what you want to do. Sorry, I'm working with a very limited space, by the way, like you can see it, okay? I'm trying my best. And these moves would translate into a smaller space by like just judging your distances better. Like some things are gonna like change a little bit, okay? Some things are gonna change a little bit. Um, and so, you know, we talked about all of that, like basically how to move out of the way of something, right? Whether it be like a cross or this way cross, you can, there's many ways to move in the direction that I said, right? But you remember all that because you're pros, okay? So all that crap, you remember it, okay? Easy. And the differences between like being focused on your target or not focused on your target, you remember all of that crap, right? And your hands and everything else. I think I told you like everything that you needed to know in that regard for now, as I like to say, in a vacuum, okay? And trust me, there is like more advanced like moving options, which I showed you some, so I shouldn't just like, I shouldn't really, dwell on it more. But I want you to understand something. The fact that I'm showing you things, so like two things, right? Two things I want to say, which I didn't say last time. When I'm talking, I can't focus. I've trained my brain not to. I like to do one thing at a time. If I'm doing fighting, that's fighting. If I'm doing practicing, that's practicing. If I'm doing streaming, well, that's streaming. If I'm talking, I can't be making moves. So sometimes, and this is not an excuse like at all, but sometimes, because I'm very mindful of the camera as well. So sometimes, if I look clumsy, it's for two reasons, or like I'm forgetting what I said and I'm not practicing what I said. There's reasons for that. So the first reason is that I'm trying to show a specific thing, one thing, not all of it together. Remember how I said like you have to practice to combine everything that you know in every move? Right. Sorry, this is distracting. 1 second. What did I press there? There. Now that's not distracting anymore. Sorry, it was the clip of the song we're listening to. It was distracting me. I was like, that's interesting. Sorry, that's why you saw me looking there. What was I saying? Right. It's difficult for me as well to combine everything that I know in one move. That's where like practice comes in, right? And that's actually the goal there. To be doing every single move with everything that you know at the same time, all the time. That's it. And make that an instinct. It's not an easy job at all. So, but like back to the point. If I'm showing something and I'm being clumsy and I'm forgetting my own like hand positions and all that, it's because I'm relaxed and I'm trying to show the particular step of what I'm showing, not all of the thing, for example, right? And it's also difficult for me to immediately visualize a situation and just go like, oh yeah, you would do this or you would do that. So what I'm trying to do is like show you the parts that you need to know to understand the subject matter of the, of that moment, right? So if I'm a bit clumsy, you're gonna have to excuse it that way, all right? And also I'm out of shape. Okay, don't forget, I'm doing this to motivate myself to remember all this and also to remember to stay safe and like do something about it, and I'm trying to keep consistent. So this is the second time. I guess it's consistent, 2 out of 2, But yeah, that's the reason. And then the other thing I want to say, which is related to that, is that I'm showing you things in parts, but remember what I said. You have to take something apart first to reverse engineer it and understand all of its moving parts before you put it back together the way you want, right? And before you put it back together for it to work. Some parts will work as they are, some other parts will not. A car works if you take the wheels out. You can still turn on the engine, you get the analogy, right? So whenever I'm focusing on one aspect, I might just not have the brain capacity for every other aspect because I'm also talking to you and everything else. In short, it's your problem, okay? And it's also your fault. So fuck you. That's all I'm gonna do. So with that out of the way, and again, remember, like everything I say, that was not a stroke. I'm just thinking where I want to take this next, okay? Because this is not scripted. That wasn't a stroke. So, okay. Where I want to take it next is talking a little bit about what I mean with parts and why I said what I said with parts. It's because everything I showed so far seems to be very, rigid, right? You move, that's the way you move. Okay, that's the way. I like it. No, but like, listen to me seriously. I may be doing these moves very, like, not rigidly, but stiffly, right? Like I'm showing you something. I'm going like, okay, this is your stance here, but then you move there, and like this, like it starts and ends, right? And I'm there, and I'm telling you this is how you do it. All right, so am I telling you to stand still? Depending, maybe, but in a vacuum, no. Ideally, everything that you do is a frame, right? You know fighting games, right? So everything is a frame. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Even in real life, everything that we do is a frame. Those are frames. Okay, you have to think like that because learning to read where a frame might lead to will help you, and it will also help you understand that like everything blends into the next thing. So if you're retreating like this, you better have a purpose for that, and a way or a technique or something that will build off that. You don't just randomly decide, oh, here is a strike, let me just, how am I gonna dodge that? Let me see, I'm gonna dodge that way. Okay, but like, what's the plan there? Because a lot of martial arts is like strategic thinking. Like, for example, if the target was there, and I decided to go that way, it would probably be because I want to then just, do that. Or maybe I just want to turn, right? But you have to like think about that a little bit. Why do you want to do the things that you want to do? And that's why in a vacuum, when I show you stuff, just because there is no target there and there is no situation that makes me think or like, triggers me to just like get, okay, I'm in a phase, right? Okay, something is happening. I can't, you know, pretend it, if that makes sense. I can't really pretend it, okay? So that's why everything seems so isolated and so cut off from like everything else. But in reality, no. In reality, the moment you just decide that, okay, oh snap, I gotta fight now, that's it. Get down with any thoughts or anything and go into like this mega uber 4D chess kind of like fighting mode, where you're just now everything matters, every frame, every move you read just matters. Your moves matter. The other guy or girl is reading your moves as well. And so so you have to be like a little bit restrained with your flair, with your like theatrics, shit like that. And yeah, in reality, it just happens way too fast. I mean, Jesus Christ, when I got punched, I saw it, I caught it, but like that felt fast as well. You know, I didn't have time to drop my beer and then like block or something. I didn't have time to drop my beer. So things are very fast, which is evident, from like a lot of free material you can find on YouTube with fights and everything. Shit is fast. Well, it's not as fast as you would think on the other hand. It's not as fast that you wouldn't have time to just like, mind a few things about your posture, a few things about your environment and all that. And you can strategically make time. And not only that, but also you can just strategically just pre-evaluate the situation a little bit. Because half the fight is won before it even starts. And I know that sounds cringe, but it's true. Half of it is determined, not won. That's a little bit too much. Your plan is determined a little bit beforehand. Part of your plan is going to be determined there. And part of your plan, the clan MacLeod. But no, part of your plan is also going to be based on your personality. And you gotta minimize a little bit of that, not completely, because you need some personal spice, because it helps being, a little bit harder to read. And if the other guy or girl or whatever, the other person, cannot read this as fast as you, well, now you have an advantage because they don't know what might happen. But from somebody's like body language, you can ascertain a few things, especially like just before something is going to happen. And Jesus, I should make a whole fucking the Takeda clan. Yeah, of course, the Takeda clan. Yeah, true. The fucking Takeda clan. Yeah, they're there. And so that's how movement blends into everything else that you're going to do, right? And sorry for my voice cracking. I haven't had any water. I just woke up. If you can't tell by my hair, it's like squeezed. Because I dyed it, and the curliness and fluffiness kind of died down. And I also need to have a shower afterwards. Okay, but yeah, that's why I look like shit and I sound like shit. It's like I just woke up, look at my bed. Okay, I didn't even make my bed. Okay, it's like, look at it. Anyway, my boring ass room, I guess. What was I saying? Right, and so everything blends into each other, into the next thing, not each other. Wow, okay, blend with each other. Cool, let's blend. But no, really, everything blends with the next thing that you're going to do. Sometimes you will not have time to think about all that, and maybe your body will also react, completely out of reflex. So you'll avoid something in a certain way that you didn't plan for, right? Maybe like there's like a strike coming at you, and you go like, "Ooh, I'm so fucking cool." But now what are you gonna do? Like, have you planned for this? No. So that's why it's very useful to practice your moves under different like circumstances, right? And that's why we don't want stuff like, oh, a kick only comes out this way, or a punch only comes out this way. And that's why you have to break down the punches and kicks as well. Because what are they at the end of the day? It is like connecting you to to a target in a certain way, right? But if you have to think about punches in a certain way, like a certain concrete way, then certain situations like here, what are you gonna do here? Are you gonna like, what are you gonna do? What's happening there? But if you know where to strike and with what, then you can adapt to that, right? Even if you didn't plan for it, right? Or if you want to be fancy, you can just like follow the movement through and be like, oh, okay, and then just fall backwards and go like, whoops, and then go back in, You can do many things, but you have to know where to strike and with what. And I think that's a good prologue, a good segue into like what I wanted to talk about, which is like, how the fuck do we strike? I mean, okay, so now we know how to move, for example, a little bit. And this is also assuming a very in a vacuum kind of arrangement, because you can make it fancier if you wanted, right? You could make it a lot fancier. You could make it as fancy as like going low and helping. I can't do it because the space is like a little bit fucked. Going low and like touching with your hand and then going back up. You know what I mean? Around the target or to move away. Like a little monkey. You can do that if you wanted to. And you can, and your whole body should be helping with the movement as well. And I'm gonna come back to that. Like some stuff that you do can be helped with the rest of your body sometimes. Okay, so which is like the other part, or the opposite, and therefore the balancing factor in a yin yang way of what I said, that all your body should be functioning like all your parts should be functioning autonomously. And don't read too much into that, okay? All I'm saying is that like your parts should be able to perform most functions regardless of what the rest of your body is doing. But as I said, this has like another side where all of your body is conspiring, so to speak, for a move. So if I wanted to like really go low, right? Something is like coming my way and I really have to avoid it. I could go like, okay, down here, right? And then I can just help myself with my hand, yeah? So if I wanted to just like dive but not dive, not really roll, I could go like this, for example, and then just help myself up with my hand, with like my whole body. Maybe it's a bad example, dude, I don't even know, but like I'm giving you a few things, right? A few things there to understand. Forget what I'm showing, just if you can understand what I'm saying, something easier, much easier. There's a wall here, right? And you can't quite move fast enough. Well, if a strike is coming and I want to avoid it like this, oh, there is a wall, but I'm touching the wall and I'm pushing myself right off the wall. Maybe one hand, maybe no hands either, but that's gonna hurt. But don't be afraid to kind of like, I hate the word, but to trick fight a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe you want a certain kick. I don't know if you've seen it, but like some people are flexible enough to like to twist and just go like this, but like in your face, right? With a heel, just do a sweeping kick like this, right? Now, if you can't do it, you can actually, for example, and I don't have the flexibility for it anymore. Soon, I promise. But you could go like touch the ground and do the kick. See what I mean? And that's risky, but it's also a thing that you can do. So maybe that was a good example of what I mean, right? So sometimes your whole body can work with something. Other times, only parts. Or another example. You know what another cool example is? Where you know how there's like a type of striking where you put all your weight in there on purpose. And yeah, I know some people will say, oh, if you put all your weight in, somebody's gonna push you. So, you're easier to topple. Hey, maybe I planned for that. Maybe I can roll. Maybe I can roll safely on the ground if that happens. Maybe I want them to try to do that because I know what to do. Right? So it's not like there is never an answer. So think about it this way. Everything is a poison and an antidote, right? So everything just builds on top of what's happening. Everything has an answer. But can you find it? And when you reach the point where no one has found an answer, can you create it? So if you push yourself into a situation where, to give you an example, somebody says, oh, but if I punch you with all my weight, you're gonna feel it. Yes, that's it. The other guy says, oh, but I'm gonna use your weight against you. That's it. And then it usually just stops. Literally, that's usually where it stops, funnily enough, like not even 4 steps in. And I know it sounds cringe when I say, you gotta think 5 steps ahead, son. You do. You do. You do. You have to know your abilities, and you have to be able to calculate really fast what's gonna happen. Because for example, the guy who uses my weight against me, well, yeah, thank you very much for that. Like, thank you for throwing me that way, because then I'm away from you and I know how to land safely, and then I'm safe. Worst case scenario, you just help me be safe. Best case scenario, my whole weight is in your face now, and you're out. What do I have to lose? So, and somebody who knows that shit, that's why, which I don't want to go into that yet. I'll just throw a tease. That's why when we are going into grappling, we start with the whole thing of, oh yeah, you catch the other guy and you topple them over. Yeah, and then it's over. That's it. They're down and all that. No, but that's why you see all these guys just, once they do that, they then mount the guy or the target, let's say, because it might be a girl as well or anything between like me. And then you mount them and then you do some other stuff, But mounting is not the only thing you can do. And sometimes mounting might also not be good, depending on the situation, like how many attackers are there, right? And this is where the whole thing of how can I fix it comes in. Where, for example, an armbar, right? And you do it properly, correctly, it doesn't just stop there. Okay, that's not gonna stop the other guy. So that's when you start adding stuff like, oh, armbar, but also knee, right? Push them down further, secure them, right? Always check around what's going on. Stomp them a little bit in the ribs. That will keep them, And you start thinking about all those things. So martial arts that are based on simply, taking advantage of somebody's momentum, on their own, they're never gonna work. Okay, they're on their own. The part where you take advantage of the momentum works, but as a system it doesn't work because it's missing a lot of other things. But the part works. So for example, if you were to like weaponize it, you could use it. Like if somebody like comes there and I'm going like, oh okay, there you go, okay. What if when I'm doing that, I literally grab the arm and then push at the back of the head and take them down completely into my knee, right? Push them further down there by manipulating the. You know what? Fuck it for now. Oh, you're not saying something cool. But you see what I mean? It's not so. So if somebody, so to go back to my argument, if I was to like throw the strike that I wanted to initially tell you about, which I haven't even touched yet, but I will, and somebody takes advantage of your weight, then you know how to react. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just like, you know, roll with it, easy. It was the point. But then I started talking about other things. Rewind. The strike itself, alright? So while in a vacuum, I usually just say, okay, that's the way to strike or whatever. Yes, you can commit your whole body, even in a single punch, by just literally launching yourself in there, you know? Just launch yourself in there, completely. I can't do it because I will just launch myself into the camera, but like, for example, it would be like completely launching yourself in. I'm afraid to do it, that's a window. I cannot fucking do it. But the idea is that, for example, you go in, right? Remember when I told you push with your knee as well, just to get some momentum? We'll do that. Just fucking go in, right? Just fucking go all in. Just remember to go with your weight, with your center being here, okay, below the belly button. Like focus with your center always being here, and breathe into that. By the way, like remember when I told you about the breathing exercises? Breathe into that. And that's how you throw your weight around a little bit to add a little bit of a punch and blah blah. And that's how your whole body would be used in that situation. I'm not saying you should Superman punch somebody. There's a slight difference where you're also using your knee, which offers a bit of protection and a bit of extra, like, you know, what happens down there is kind of like safer, okay? And when I say your knee, not head on, but like, you know, 45. Okay, never head on. You don't want to crack your knee on like somebody or a wall if you know if you miss. But yeah, definitely you can, you know, wind the punch into something less restrained than like just a jab, right? You can definitely do that. And what I'm trying to say is that's the part where your whole body conspires into something or cooperates with the rest of, you know, with the other, each part cooperates, let's say, to create a result that would be more effective than if just part of you did the motion, you know, as that makes sense, I hope. And I know you're already saying, okay, you know, I already know I have to, when I punch, I have to like, you know, push with my leg and everything. Yeah, yes, you know that. But what if your leg is wounded, right? What if it can't go the weight? What if you can't move it at all, right? But you can stand there. Well then, my friend, your part that you're gonna use to attack needs to autonomously fight for the rest of the body, right? So essentially, a little bit of fight until you're completely disabled kind of mentality, right? Fight until you're even lying on the floor and you can still fucking move your upper body, like still keep fighting, don't give up. And that as a mentality is something that helps with your fighting spirit, you know, to be prepared to fight through that to the last, right? To the last ounce of what you got, like everything, you know. Not in the sense of like overexerting yourself unnecessarily, but like you know, scraps are bad. You will get hurt. You know, you will never, although that's what you're striving to get, you will never be perfect. But that's what you're striving to get, you know, perfection. Every move, super calculated, you're reading every frame, you're like, you know how to respond, your body's ready, you've strengthened your joints, like everything's ready. That's what you aim for, but in reality, you can hope for maybe 10% of that. But your mind is like, I want to reach the 100%. You'll never do that. You know, there's no perfection this side of the grave, dude. But wanting to seek perfection, that's also fighting spirit. Like wanting to be perfect in what you do, whatever perfect means to you. You know, not thinking that you are perfect, but just wanting to improve all the time. That's fighting spirit as well. It's the same fighting spirit that you're training by saying, you know, even if I'm down one leg and one arm, I can still perform. I can still do some things, and not in the weird way of like just limping somewhere, you know, or standing when you shouldn't. But we'll get to that as well. Like, what can I do if like my leg is fucked, for example? Okay, how can I adapt my stance to help with that, for example, or to even conceal it, right? Because that's also part of it. Like you should not let your opponent know um, too much how effective their bullshit is, right? I mean, sometimes you can even exaggerate it. Because if I exaggerate like a pain in the knee or the thigh, then it is likely, for example, that my target, my enemy, is probably going to seek to injure it more. So if I overplay it, because like a lot of it is also deception, you know. If you're a Decepticon like me, um, you know. But no, a lot of it is also deception, and I know that maybe, oh, you know, ninjutsu or ninjutsu, and it's weird for me. Okay, I could never say it. I'm kind of dyslexic, so I could never. I always interchange them. I know one is incorrect, but it's been 40 years now, you know. So, you know, be a ninja, my dude. Deception, like the art of the ninja. You see what I did? No longer need to say ninjutsu or anything. The art of the ninja. You see, I adapted. Is more a mindset than it is a moveset. Does that make sense? It's more a mindset to deceive visually, to conceal, right? It is that. If it is anything, it is that. Because as a martial arts system, well, you know, all martial arts systems originate from one or two systems, like maybe three, maybe who knows, from the past. What does it matter? You can replicate every move. You can teach your body to do every move every way. Sure, which doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to make it actually effective, right? Because mimicking a move but lacking what drives it and when to use it and the experience of using it is not gonna help you. Okay? But yeah, what my point was, like, you can mimic every move. It doesn't matter what the system brings in terms of moveset. What matters is what the system brings as an idea. And hear me out. Even if there were no ninjas, even if there were no, even if there were no martial artists in the whole world, the idea, the concept, is sound. As in, it's legitimate. Alright, so even if you're cringing listening to me talking about ninja, think again, buddy, because what I'm really saying is that deception and even psychological warfare, using your voice or using your posture or anything, and concealment of what's going to happen and with what and what way, and all that is to your advantage. And when I say concealment, I don't mean it in like a special forces kind of sense, obviously. I mean it as in, you shouldn't be easy to read, right? Maybe you shouldn't even, like, remember when I told you, don't look at the eyes of your opponent? Because you don't want them to even assume anything about you. It's not like, oh, if you look into their eyes, they're gonna steal your soul. It's not that, it's more like, there is something about someone's characteristics that can tell you a few things as they change, expressions and intent, right? If I'm looking in your eyes and you're looking into my eyes and I look elsewhere, right? One of us may be tricked. One of us may be tricking each other, right? One of us may be giving away where they're gonna aim next. one of us might be giving away what they're thinking. And it's a dangerous game because it's completely uncontrollable, in the pinch. And so you shouldn't do that. And again, imagine that all of the stuff that I'm telling you, because somebody might go and say, "Oh, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just gonna throw punches and it's over." Yes, you are right. You are right. All of this knowledge is useless because at the end of the day, if you just get punched, you're knocked out. And that's it. Your whole theory, everything that we're talking about here, is over. It's over. But two things about that. That means you need to practice more. That means that you need to practice more. And the second thing it means is that, well, you kinda suck. No, just kidding. You don't kinda suck, but also you do. Because the system didn't fail, you failed. And when I say the system, I mean, I use it like frivolously because I don't know how to. What, the discipline that you're practicing? What can I say? Your martial arts style? You prefer that? That. Okay, so that didn't fail, you failed. Have you thought about that? You fucking failed. I'm practicing Aikido, but I can't use it. You failed. Adapt it, learn it, adapt it, add to it, mix, mix it up, right? Just keep mixing. I mean, mixed martial arts. The concept is great. Because when you think mixed martial arts, you're thinking a cage and two baboons going like, just hitting each other and tiring each other out and whatnot, okay, valid, they can kick your ass. Yeah, okay, valid, but don't focus on that. Focus on what it really means. Mixed martial arts. You know what there isn't any of? Any martial arts or mixed. There's nothing there. There's two guys mainly practicing kickboxing or Muay Thai or anything that a fucking baboon can like mimic and the levels of like skill and experience required to just copying the move are both low, and of course it's like that because they're doing what's most effective, right? But here's a challenge: make everything that you know effective, okay? And if you can't make it effective, find something else and make that effective, because you're not confined into styles, because mixed martial arts. So the concept of mixed martial arts is great, it's awesome, but we don't see any mixed martial arts ever. You just see two guys most of the time, like it's what? It's like 25% kickboxing, 25% like ground submissions and mounting, right? And then the other 50% is literally just punching each other until they pass out. That's it. It builds stamina, it builds resistance, it builds fame and money, and it has some nice moments, right? It also fucks your mentality, it fucks your brain physically, okay? And it fucks your creativity, my dude, because you're just like, you're in a contest where the only thing that can save you within the confines of that contest is like the simplicity of brutalizing your opponent, right? You don't really think about anything else. And I respect that. And it will work, and you're gonna get fucked if, you go against one of those guys and you're not like yourself, prepared or tested, okay? And I found, what I found? Here's the good news. From personal experience, I found that like by just practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing, I'm not even joking, like more than 10 years, my dude, you eventually reach a level where you don't really realize it, but you're on the level with these guys. Because like suddenly, you've been conditioning your body, you've been conditioning your mind, you've been conditioning your mentality, everything. You've had a few spars, and I don't know about you, but I spent like these 10 years, there were times I would sit 4 hours in the whatever dojo I was in at the time, right? and just sit there and be like, I gotta make this fucking thing work. I want to, right? And then after all this time, yeah, I did go somewhere where they were like practicing martial arts. I did mixed martial arts, MMA, you know, in a traditional sense. And I found out that like my physical condition wasn't that much worse than these guys, and you know, punching them had a very similar effect to what you would expect like from the guys you see in those like cages. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to like to glow me up. I'm trying to glow you up and your effort. You don't need to be a cage fighter to actually be good and to actually be able like to contest such a guy or girl. You know, you don't need to. But it highly depends on like what you're doing in the meantime. Because they're training. What are you doing? Okay? Are you just going to your dojo methodically and going like, uh, 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 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, okay, day out, let's go, woo, back home. Next day you go in, 1, 2, your mind is getting numb. You're not even thinking what you're doing. You don't even know what you're doing. You have no fucking idea. You just go there and you parrot. And then you go like, oh yeah, of course an MMA would, you know, fighter would kick me. Yes, of course they would, because you've learned nothing, you've done nothing. Where is like your conditioning? Where is strengthening your joints? Where is like safe falling? Where are all the things that will enable you to use actual mixed martial arts? You know, mixed because you're taking things there, here, and you're just combining it, and you're putting it into you, and you're like, don't even, shut up. You're putting it into you, and you're like improvising, processing, you know, all of that stuff, making it work. Where is that? Because if you just go there, you go like, all right, everybody, let's do our rounds, 10 minutes, and then, you know, also hop to the side, and let's go, guys, and then you're like, okay, everyone, fall in line. Oh, Sifu, yes, okay, and then now you go like, nya, woo, nya. You don't even know what you're doing. There's nothing. What is that? There's nothing. You don't even understand what you're doing. Why are you doing this? Like, why is your leg at the front? What's going on? What's going on, really? Like, do you even know what you're doing? Like, what part of this should be striking and why? What happens if that goes wrong? Should I strike like this? Like that? Like this? How do I strike? Do I put my weight into there? Nobody cares. Here's your belt. You're a black belt. Now go fight that guy. Oops, you lost. That's it. Never stood a chance. Anyway, everyone is picking on fucking karate, but karate is good. It's just like, what are you gonna pick up from it is the problem, right? You gotta break things apart. Okay, is what I'm trying to say. Break them apart. I don't even know how we reached here. By the way, I think I was talking about. What the fuck was I talking about even? I think I was talking about like using your whole body, right? And what happens afterwards. But that's not even what I initially wanted to talk about, because that was like just expanded. Initially. This is infuriating. And why the fuck did the music stop? Hey, start again, you moron. Okay, sorry about that. See? I threatened it. Anyway, but yeah, it's a whole matter. How long was this? 48 minutes. Hey, where's the money, bitch? Give me the money. Where's the money? I should be getting paid for this. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But like, what else do I want to talk about? Because you know, within the rules of this stream is that I don't say anything unless I want to. So do I want to say something else today? I yapped a lot. Maybe that's it. No, you know what? Let's do this. Let's start. Okay? and you'll see how everything will fall into place. Because we've talked about how to move your stupid legs, which are useless to you for now until you train them. But like, and then we talked about moving. So what do you do with movement then? Okay, so you avoided the punch. Congratulations. Now what? So let's talk striking, right? And we're gonna talk grappling as well. And God fucking help me, because how the fuck am I gonna show you some things if there is nothing here to use except a pillow and a chair? I have a chair. I have my old gaming chair, and I can use that. But yeah, that's a good idea actually. Maybe I should, because that piece of shit sucks, and it's also like destroyed completely at this point. So maybe I'll use my chair. Until that moment, let's lay some basics about striking, because usually what's gonna happen is after you move, it's gonna be blended with some kind of strike. Maybe. I don't know. A lot of people do that. I guess that's what you're gonna do. So, so striking then. Okay, remember, okay, assume your very interesting stance, just like, ease up a little. Okay, let your shoulders rest naturally. You remember the drill. At least one of your feet, the one that you're gonna pivot on, that should be the ball of the foot. Sometimes both should be, maybe one of them is rooted. You can see it right there. I see it, so you see it probably, even if it's the back leg. See, the suspension is kind of great, right? I got good suspension, dude. Anyway, you can ride me all day. Back to the point. Get into your stance. And the only reason why I'm saying get into your stance is because we are going from a vacuum, a place of safety, a place of like no variables, zero factors. It's just you, there's nobody else. It is only you. You're not under attack, you're just there. You're just there. So just assume your stance, as I said. It's in a vacuum, it's fine. Right? Okay. Bring your hand here, your other hand here, or a bit more extended, or if you want to be fancy with your distances, you can do that. I know you all guys fucking love this shit. You love this shit. I know it. So just, I don't know, adapt it or whatever the fuck you want. But for now, just go like I said. And now let's assume the easiest thing ever, striking. So what's the purpose of that? It's to connect you with the target, right? And how would you do that? Remember one thing, that in a vacuum, that part with which you're striking, whatever it is, your head or anything, your shoulders, should be able to work independently. That is the first thing. Second thing, breathe. Remember the breathing that we said? Right? And third thing, move with purpose. Because it's not like a heartless motion. You have to put your heart into it, you have to be, now I'm going to do that. That's what the fuck I'm going to do. It's no joke. I will do this. This is what I'm doing. I'm not doing it to be safe. I'm doing it to do it. I am committing to this. That is my move. And I believe in it, I believe in this. This will work. And if it doesn't, I know what to do, but this will work. That's kind of how you think. This will work. Anyway, easiest way, remember your angles, right? That's what I'm gonna talk about today. Perfect, angles. The way that you strike should never be your full extent. You understand? It could be, but in a vacuum, okay? How we start. Never at full extent. So that is not your job. Okay, that is not your job. This is your job. There. That's your job. That's the distance, right? No shoulders, nothing. That's the distance, all right? That's a job. It's close range. Don't think it's like it reaches far, but that's your job. Have your hands wherever you want. I don't care. Okay, but this is like your maximum distance there. Okay, because all of this needs to be a system of 45 degrees and no more. You get it? And also your hand. That should also be 45 degrees. Not there, not there. Unless there is a purpose. Because there are purposes, there are reasons why you would want to strike this way, or completely that way, or even upside down. Okay? But in a vacuum, you have no reason to do that. And therefore, your default attack should be 45, right? I can't like explain it better other than don't extend it fully, but have like 45, okay? Degrees, that's it. And there are many reasons for that. And if you think that's like very close, I have some bad news for you. You're gonna have to get close into the target. Or bait them into coming closer to you, or using movement to go closer safely. And you're gonna be like, duh! But remember what we said? Economy. So, if you have to fight, I will assume that your target is aggressive and that they want to actually fight and not fuck around. They really want to fight. So you will be given chances where you can cause it or they will start it anyways. And by, I don't mean the scuffle itself, I mean like a frame, right? If they start moving to you, oh, now we go. Because now I can just move slightly and I'm in striking range of what I want to do. That's kind of like both irrelevant and relevant what I'm saying. Oh, and also you can close the distance, of course. You know, there is no. Let's make something clear. There is no defensive or offensive martial art, but there is a person's style of martial artist that might prefer defense, and another that may prefer offense. Both can do the same. Like, here's a good example of that, right? You hear Muay Thai. Did they butcher that? Because in Greek it's like Muay Thai. Maybe I butchered it, okay. Muay Thai? Muay Thai? Listen, Thai, yeah, that system, okay. So people are saying, oh, that's such an aggressive system, it's explosive, it's that. It's not the system. It's you. It's you, it's not the system. Are you explosive? Anything can be, Tai Chi can be explosive if you are explosive. Tai Chi can be offensive if you're offensive. Wing Chun can be gentle as fuck. Karate can be gentle if you are gentle. Aikido can be a hard style if you want to adapt it that way. You just change the percentages and the way that you apply it. Does that make sense? There is no art that the moment that you learn its move set, which as we explained doesn't exist, that's not a thing. Okay, it's just methods of striking which are universal. You can learn them all. You know, it is possible to learn them all. You know what's not possible to learn? I'll tell you. What's not possible to learn is like separating them and treating them as their own little moves. Like for example, oh, you know, capoeira has like this motion of like going back and forth all the time. You have to know that, and then that makes you very mobile, and then that means I can't do certain things because this is the capoeira moveset, and then now I have to go and learn boxing's moveset, and then I have to learn Muay Thai moveset. If you learn like that, you will never learn it all. But if you just understand what they're doing, you can use all of them. All of them. I'm not even kidding. It's possible to learn every single martial art because there is a limit, an upper limit, to what you're achieving. Right? Now, to how you're achieving it, that's your imagination, your preference, your this, your that. That's why we stick to martial arts styles, because we're like, oh, look at those people doing this move. It looks so aggressive and rigid. I think that suits me. My God, like, just, you already learned everything. You saw what it is about. It is about rigidity. It's about directional, you know, strikes, complete strikes that are like an arrow. You're already grasping it. And the other 80% is just repetition. I'm not dishing on martial artists, I'm not dishing on martial arts, but you have to understand, it's silly to think that you switch modes. What, like, if I know boxing and karate, do you think I switch modes? If I know Muay Thai and kickboxing and karate, do I switch modes? I don't. I don't switch modes. It's all in there. Most of them, there is like insane overlap as well. There is insane overlap, and usually what changes is how practical something is, or how deeply mired into tradition and archaic conceptions it is, you know, because some things, unfortunately, yes, they are at this point not necessary. Do they look awesome? Yes, but are they necessary? No. In most cases, no. Um, so that's what I meant. You know, I didn't mean to insult, because, and this is my saving throw, my diplomacy 20, natural, you are learning these separate martial arts for the mindset and the discipline, not for the move set. That's why you prefer what karate dictates, you prefer what Muay Thai dictates, you prefer what this or that dictates, you know, you just prefer that. You prefer the ritual, you prefer the aesthetics, you prefer as a person, that's how you would kick, and that's how you like doing it. But I'm not about that. I'm about what actually happens. Alright, so yes, if you like the aesthetic, stick to one. Nobody's gonna like fault you, or stick to more, you know, if you want to, or stick to none. But what I'm talking about is like effectiveness, right? Not in the sense of like, oh, you know, fucking YouTube channel, okay, these moves aren't effective. I'm talking about like, in effect, what actually happens. Like, what is going on under the hood of martial arts? Like, you got these styles here and there, you got this, but what happens under it? You know, what's going on under there, right? And that's what you have to grasp, you know, if you want to be my student. But no, that's you have to understand that for real. It's not the move set that should make you want to experience a martial art system. It's not, and with that I will BRB, and I'll tell you more about it. I'm back because I just wanted some water. Okay, what was I saying? Right, yeah. So this is like when it comes to striking, for example, right? The capoeira guy is gonna tell you, oh, we have like these swinging things. You know, we also have jabs, but like we have these swinging things. Um, yes, take that and analyze it. So what does it do? It's like a swinging attack, and you're attacking like with this, for example, you know, and careful not to attack with this because it hurts, experience. And you're doing a sweeping motion, and now you have to start analyzing, like, okay, where would I do this? And do I really need the whole motion? Do I need to do the whole, you know, thing that they're dancing, right? And all this thing that they're dancing, they're doing, you know, with the hands and everything. Do I need all of that? In reality, no. Is it beautiful? Yes. Is it giving you a sense of momentum and all that? Yes, yes as well. You could use that. You see, now you're thinking, because you're saying, oh, maybe I can wind up a little bit of my moves sometimes when I'm allowed. You know, when the situation calls for it. And you know, maybe the way that you move now, that you understand movement, now makes more sense to use that in some circumstances a little bit because now your whole body is helping. Okay, we're taking that, you know. But everything else, do we really need to do that? Like, no, we don't. We don't really. You don't really, honestly. And the more you cut it down and refine it, the more you reach like the core of the move that you want, and then you break it apart and you realize that it's not a move, it's just a method of striking. Anyway, so the simplest thing, right? A target of the same elevation, because yes, it's not just range, it's also elevation. Like, you can't comfortably jab down there. You have to lower yourself, okay, to reach there. Which is a concept that generally you will find that I am a proponent of. If I want to hit low, I have to go low, with some exceptions, okay? But generally, if I wanted to, for some reason, which is valid, to strike down there with my hands, I would probably try to find a way to go there safely, right? And there is there's also a whole system about that as well, which you may have seen it like, you may have seen Tom Cruise using that. I don't know, he likes it. I think he likes it. In the Jack Reacher films, I'm pretty sure, and in Mission Impossible, I'm pretty sure he used a bit of it. And then I think Christian Bale also was using that as Batman, where he does like this very reserved, you know, very close quarters, very reserved, and closed up movements that are very rigid, but like they also protect you at the same time. And you know, you've seen it. It's a good idea. Like it's a good idea. It's a good idea, honestly. But anyway, that wasn't what I was saying. What I was saying is that like by default, you know, you want to do all those things like at the level in a vacuum, right? So on this level of my arm, right? And I want it to be like a straight strike, and I want it to be as simple as possible. Then we're gonna connect like these two, or one of them, if you're good with that, to an opponent, to a target. Now, where on the target, you also have to decide that, and why, because it's different, and then the how will be formed. But let's assume that your target is a face. All right, let's assume that your target is a face. All right, so your target is a face. Okay, so you probably want to start learning where to hit, right? So here, for example, or here, or here, or here, or here at the cheek bone, right? Or there, or under, for example. You start seeing things, right? But yeah, this can reach all of those points, right? Some of them it can't because they're on the side. So now, what you want to do is like strike at the side, right? And now you want this to be more powerful, for example, because like just this will not be enough. So suddenly you want to do like a more sweeping motion, or you want it to be like a more, you know, 45 degrees motion. And so you see, just the rude examples, like a crude examples of like what I'm saying about like how to devise my attack, right? And that will start telling you everything you need, as long as you stay within the confines of, don't overextend unless it's your plan. Everything I say, it's unless it's your plan, okay? Unless you plan some. But in a vacuum, don't overextend, don't ruin your breathing, don't ruin your stance. In a vacuum, to practice it, right? To practice it. Your limbs should be moving, you know, independently of the rest of your body, so without ruining your stance, for example. That's how you start practicing your strikes. All right? Because everything else is just your imagination. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I want to figure out a way to strike someone at waist level because I want to target like their stomach, or I want to target the lower part of the ribs. I want to crack that. How do I do that? Probably my legs. Okay, interesting. Also, a hook could do it, but I would have to be careful because then I would have to move this hand there a little bit, which leaves this uncovered. So let me just slide to the side a bit and try to do it that way. But then that becomes too readable. So maybe I need to find a way to cause it. You see, and you start cooking, right? And the best way to cook, just like in real life, is with a friend. And that's the hardest part of learning and practicing. Because you have no friends, you loser. Beat it, kid. I'm just joking. But like visualization, extremely important. Extremely important. And if you have a friend, if you're lucky enough to have a friend that is practicing anything, or just who is physical, right? Or just who wants to help you. Like, you know how you play, like, you know, friend swap games? Well, friend swap practice martial arts. Dude, it's nice. It feels good. Trust me, it feels nice. It's nice to do, you know, it's a pastime for them. And for you, it's learning slowly, you know? It's slowly learning. And that's how you can have a reference of human body, right? And there are no bad feelings between you, and no it isn't adversarial, and it's pure, because it's just two people who love each other, just spending time together. There's no animosity, and there is no misunderstanding. If you hit each other a little bit harder than you thought, you know, because that's also part of it, like learning to control that a little bit. Not so that you don't use it, or that you only use as much force as is necessary. No, it's not that. It's to learn how weak you are so you can grow stronger, mostly. Uh, but yeah, because I say that because usually people will tell you, oh, you need to control your strength. You don't need to control your strength. You already control your strength. The question is, how strong are you? You know? Because I'm always talking about situations where you want to literally, I hate to say that, you want to literally stop the other person, your target, from are we on the same page? Like, this is not a competition. It's, you know, it's like one of you has to not be able to be moving at the end, right? One way or the other, you figure out the way. But one of you has to be effectively stopped. That's what we're talking here. Like, what you're learning, if it cannot stop a person, potentially, discard it. It's useless to you. And that includes like everything. That includes you know, anything that doesn't enable you to stop the other person. As in, you know, that they're not able to continue fighting. As in, they really aren't. Even if they really wanted to, they really aren't able to. Okay? So, but when you're doing it with a friend, as funny as that sounds, that's not there. And you shouldn't hit each other. Okay? But you should definitely... What's that? What are you telling me, phone? Fuck you. You should definitely just... do it with love. Yeah? Don't have any negative feelings. Because that's not the person you want to stop. And that person doesn't want to stop you. But you want to learn together. Or you want to learn and they want to have fun and hang out with you. And so anyway, the point was, that way you start seeing how a body reacts. How your body reacts. What happens if I kick someone? What the fuck happens to my knee? What the fuck happens to my center of balance? What happens to my feelings? If I kick, what if someone else kicks me? What happens then? Like, how does my body react? And this is why some degree of physical contact needs to exist, even if you're doing it for fun. Because it has to be enough so that you can understand how you would react if you were hit, right? And it doesn't need to be more than a tap. Doesn't take more than a tap to affect a person. Did you know that? You don't have to like throw falcon punches all day. Like a simple slap will turn your head because that's how your body works. You know, it just compensates, right? If somebody were to hit me here, all right, I would instinctively do that, right? So that is information that you can use. Like, oh, I should stop doing that. Maybe there's a better way to teach my body to react to being hit. You know, tactics. And then you see what you do. What did that do to the other person? What did that actually do to the other person? And I'm not talking about like compliance. I'm not talking about compliance at all. I'm talking about, hey, my pain threshold, and I know this sounds like a BDSM session, but it's not. My pain threshold allows me to just take whatever you throw, and you can be like, oh, okay, so I should do it a little bit more, and your friend will be like, yeah, a little bit more, so that they react, you know, a little bit more, but not so much that you would cause each other brain damage if you had to hit your, you know, your head, and always do it like softly, and you can even practice that a little bit. So for example, what we used to do, we would just stand in front of each other and we would just like empty our thoughts and go like boopies, 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 and literally boopies. It would be like, oop, you know, a bit, just a little bit, so that the other person starts understanding how they need to have their head to minimize that, because with every time that the other guy touches you, you go like, oh, if I unlock my neck, it doesn't do anything. You know, if I just, oh, I feel like maybe if I have my mouth open, I might bite my lips. Maybe I need to secure it. And then you start like thinking, you know, and that does two things. First, it shows you that, like, you know, with a friend, you can go that far or that far or that far or that far. You learn their comfort levels, they learn your comfort levels of being, you know, physical. It also builds familiarity between you so that you can practice more intricate things other than just like a touch, which, you know, a strike is a touch, you know. And you start feeling comfortable being close, because a lot of things that I notice is like, I'm not talking like, wait, where's the thing? There we go. I didn't expect a fucking song here. Is that gonna stop it right now? I think I was betrayed by this list. Yeah? What's this about? Better? Better, okay. What was I saying? Right, familiarity is important because it can filter out negative emotions. It can get you both into the spirit of, okay, now I need to focus. Now I need to focus. There is a human being there. They're not faceless, and I'm close enough and I can see into their eyes, and we can talk, and we have to communicate. Oh, this hurt a little bit more. Oh, can you tone it up a bit, guys? I can't feel what you're doing. Oh, this, you know, you adjust your sparring settings. Does that make sense? Your practice settings. You're adjusting your lab. All right, you're adjusting the laboratory settings between each other. It builds camaraderie. It builds contact. It builds this and that, and all that is important because when you're gonna be throwing each other around, you won't have any negative feelings, and you will be, more used to it, and you won't be like a little bit restrained because you just don't like the contact. You'll be more used to it. And that will ease you enough so that you can start thinking and be like, okay, when that person throws me, I am 100% confident that they will do it correctly because that's what we're practicing. That means I can start building of that. How will I land? Where will I land? How will I respond to it? Because you're no longer thinking, are they going to be angry if I try to do something which they don't expect? You know, and I have a few good examples of that. So, for example, during my ninjutsu training, or ninjutsu, or anyway, kogaryu, okay, during my kogaryu, I'll call it that because that's what it was, and because I can't with my dyslexia with ninjutsu and ninjutsu, okay? So I'll call it what it was, kogaryu. Um, there was this guy, Alex, and Alex, we were practicing a very interesting thing. I smiled because it was cool, all right? But basically, what it was is, you remember like when I said that you can just like throw somebody? Well, that had like that day we were learning a technique where you flip the other person, right? You completely flip them, like their legs are going over. You're flipping them, okay? Now, if you do that, you know where this is going, right? If you do that half-heartedly, you won't pull it off. If you do it with doubt about the other person, if you don't trust their capability to land safely, you won't be able to pull through the move because you're afraid. You don't have this familiarity between you. So I didn't have that familiarity with Alex, and Alex was a big softie, okay. And so what happens is he gets me over, he does it correctly, but now he has secured like my upper torso as he should, and he's pushing my legs, and now I'm like literally upside down, and because he's afraid to finish it, he's afraid to like literally slam me on the floor. He drops me. I kid you not. He dropped me. Thereby executing the famous ninja move where somebody just flips you and like you spin. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm kind of laughing because it was like a miniature version of that. And so I went like I bonked my head, okay, which might explain a lot of things. I bonked my head. Fortunately, there was like enough padding because, of course, there would be because we weren't idiots. But like the shock of that was interesting. It told me that like, wow, it takes one mistake, and you're in that guy's fucking rotation, and if they weaponize the drop. Yeah. And imagine that's pavement there, okay? But yeah, pretty. Yeah, but the drop isn't easy either because in that situation I could have just like, used my hands because we weren't learning, dropping somebody on their head. We were learning flipping them and slamming them safely down, which was just part of a technique. It was the beginning of something, right? So I could have possibly used my hands, but hey, I didn't, and my reflex don't suck. So that was pretty. I was like, dude, I could have died. If that was a fight, and assuming I let you do this to me, like I make a mistake, I would have died. Interesting. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying, but I'm pretty sure it was relevant to this. Oh yeah, practicing together, and that was the result. Him dropping me, Alex dropping me, was a result of him being afraid of hurting me or whatever, and he ended up literally fucking doing a fatality on me, minus the very thick and soft padding that we had. So that's why it's important. You see, that's what I was saying. That's why it's important to build that familiarity with your training partner, or temporary training partner. You know, somebody who just wants to help you out. But now let's see what happens if you don't have anybody. Like, let's say if you don't have anybody. Well, then it will have to be a mix of visualizing, which is extremely hard. It's extremely hard. Shadow boxing is already hard. Do you know what that is? Shadow boxing is already pretty hard. Uh, Completely visualizing a fight would be shadow boxing plus playing yourself in chess, which I can't do that. Plus creativity for you and for the part of you that is the visualized enemy in your head. It's annoying and draining to do, and it's lonely. Unless you start, you know, but I don't want to get into that. Unless you start, like, really separating yourself from your, you know, mirror image, let's say, or whoever it is that you're imagining. Because then we start going into, should they be faceless in my head? Should they be, are they me? Am I fighting myself? What was happening? You know, you might go there. Like, some of that stuff, like, that's what, usually what people say is like, oh, martial arts is a journey. Um, yes, more than you think, because it's a lot of, like, you know, dealing with like with morality and with, like, all that stuff. Like, even that simple thing that I said, like, okay, you're visualizing the fight. Okay, who are you visualizing? Who are you fighting in your head? Who are you fighting? Why? Why do they look that way? Hmm? Is that like some deep-rooted fear of people who look that way? If yes, you need to eliminate that. You know, you gotta embrace everyone, and at the same time stop everyone. It's difficult concepts. It's a journey. Like, there's lots of things that you can find out about yourself, and that is why, you know, meditating on those things, meditating on your techniques, on, like, you know, having a meditation where you're fighting someone in your head, all that crap. It's useful. It's not something that you should, like, just scoff at, you know, just because you don't believe in energies or anything doesn't mean that there isn't any merit from, like, a lot of these techniques, right? Anyway, how did we get there? Holy shit. Uh, am I gonna have to script this shit because I'm just jumping from. You see, that's how my mind is. Remember, I told you, my mind is just, like, fragmented. It's like it's everywhere. I can't remember when each thing is, but I know that it is. Okay? And also I remember where it is, but not when or how. It's there, you know, it's just there. So that comes out, like, when I'm trying to actually say something to somebody. It really just comes into play where it just goes, like, there and there and there and there and there, you know. And I swear it's not getting distracted. It's more like, stop, you know. I have to stop myself, like, stop it. Where was I? Bring myself back. Tell myself where I was. Where were you? Were you paying attention, you fucking idiot? Yes, that's where we were, you know. That kind of, I need to do that because, like, my mind is fucking scattered all over, which makes this difficult because, like, listen to all these topics I fucking opened, right? And opening all those topics like that spontaneously also doesn't let me convey them to you properly, which is why there's going to probably be repetition and overlap in some things, right? And you're just gonna have to excuse me, you know. There's no other way. If you're watching, you're just gonna have to excuse me. And imagine this, like today I wanted, why do you think I turned on my camera? It's like I wanted to show you some things about striking, and suddenly I'm just standing there giving you a fucking TED talk on how to create familiarity and a healthy spirit between you and the sparring partner. What the fuck? Back to striking. So forget forget everything. Back to sparring. Um, 45 degrees. This part from here to here, from here to here, and this. 45 degrees. Boop, boopy. Aim with these two, okay, or this one, right? Or if you can't reach, or this one. If any of them are broken, use another one and aim with that one. You have to be able to aim with all of them. Ideally. As I said, perfection. Yeah? If you want more accuracy and penetration, you can then train yourself to hit with these. And then eventually with these. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend that. That last bit, oh, yeah, if the target is soft, yeah. If you don't care about breaking a nail, okay, I would say up to here is fine. I think that is an exaggeration, and marginally useless, because your target is not naked flesh. Rarely will be. You're gonna be jackets. There's gonna be clothing. There's gonna be other things. There are some lunatics out there that go around wearing like padding and like fucking chainmail. Did you know that? Anyway, so your fingers. Come on, dude. Yeah, these are fine, and these are fine, but like your fingers. Anyway, so and yeah, you can use even your thumbs, that part, by securing it and hitting with that. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, if everything else is broken, you can do that. Yeah, for sure. So what exactly am I saying then? I'm saying that there is no move set, there is no specific move. Oh, this is martial arts A, and this is martial arts B, and this is martial arts C. No, it's like what is available, for what reason, at what range, and how, and what are you hitting. So it changes depending on the maximum damage with the least effort, which means you have to know the position of your target and what is available to you on them, and what is available to you on you. So it's basically just math. Alright, it's not martial arts styles, it's math. It's martial arts, okay? It's martial arts because it's really about efficiency. You don't get to use the moves you like, because they are not moves. You get to use everything that you know to achieve your results. And you can know everything. You can know everything. Okay? Even if, like, for example, the need to develop a method to strike begins from a certain situation, usually position. If, for example, there is somebody there, like a target, okay, and they are turned, let's say, to the side a bit, but I want to strike safely here. Now we have a problem. They are on the side. What that means is that probably from this zone that I'm making a zone here with my hands. Is that like perceivable? Wait. This zone is a little bit covered, and not only that, because we are assuming that they're standing correctly, okay? And they're protecting themselves somehow. So this is a zone here that they cannot strike, but I want to strike here, like here, right? But it's highly possible that they're gonna like naturally deflect any frontal blows, but at the same time, I want to use a frontal blow, a straightforward attack, because reasons X, Y, or Z. You make up the reasons, I don't care. I'm just gonna tell you it's possible, okay? So what I wanna do now is, I can't reach them like this. And this will take too long, you know? Just going there will take too long. They might also read it. So I need to find a way to go in like that. So first we incorporate movement, and then, right, now we develop this, for example, right? Of course, at the right distance. But now we have found a way to twist our leg and arm in a way that we will hit there, right? But with this leg, not this. And now, oh my God, look, a move is invented. Oh my God. Oh my God, look at that. You didn't invent a move, you just found a way to do what you want. That's all it is. That's all striking is. Do you see it? That's all it is. You just found a way to do it that uses your body. Like there, okay. It's the front one. It's pretty direct. The target is there. You don't want to use that one, you know, to hit there, that surface, like this. You know, I can't do it. I don't have long enough arms to do it, okay? But you get it, right? So if it was the microphone, which is there, do you see it? Then, okay, bam, there, you got it, right? And if you twist your body more, you go in. Oh my God, look. But what happens if that meets resistance? Remember what I told you. Get a friend, figure it out. What happens if that meets resistance? And then you will also start understanding the various different types, options, the various different options. Is it a strike with a recall? Is it a strike with a follow through? Is it a strike through? Completely in, right? What kind of strike is it? Believe it or not, it's not your choice. Once more, it's strategic. How heavy is your opponent? Can that move hit in such a way, that strike hit in such a way that you're meeting the least resistance so that it can follow through? Because, for example, sweeping attacks, right? You're assuming they're gonna go through because your mind is thinking with, oh, when I do this move, my God, when I do this move, I fucking spin around. Are you gonna really spin around if there's like a block there? Are you gonna though? You can't be ready for that. How are you gonna be ready for that if you don't visualize or if you don't have a sparring partner? You don't know how your body reacts. You don't know when to make a move like that. For example, even though these strikes seem to be strikes that will completely sweep the opponent, in reality, you are using them. Wait, I'll show you. This, right? That's a straight blade. It's not a blade at all, it's wood. This, I would not use it that way. If I wanted to use it that way, I would make sure that only the tip, as the least amount of surface touches, right? But it should include the point that does damage, so anywhere here. Because even that is a nick, but in flesh it will kill you, right? If it cuts you here, it will kill you. What I'm trying to say is that these sweeping strikes, either you're gonna be very precise with hitting with them. So, for example, if I can use this guy, I can use the microphone. So if that was like somebody's head right here, okay, and I want to do that sweeping strike because hey dude, I set it up and now I can do it, okay? I'm not doing it out of the ordinary, out of nowhere, but I've set it up, I've come to that position where now it's useful to me, and every frame of my movement has led me to an advantage towards that kind of strike. Amazing, you managed it. Now what though? Because if I put all my foot and try to, make it go through, regardless of where it hits, bad news, it won't work. Because people have bendiness and resistance, right? And you have to understand that half the times it won't work. So what you need to do is scrape them. So go there, not exactly all of your foot in there. Does that make sense? Jesus Christ, I hate that English isn't my primary language. Let's try another example. All right, okay, I can demonstrate with this. So if my target was this, I wouldn't try to put all my weight there and try to do that. I would instead scrape it as I'm turning like this, just make it just touch the ball of your foot as you're going. Like a saber, as opposed to a straight blade, a saber, so that it's cutting and also withdrawing easily. It's designed for that, It's slashing. It's slashing, right? You're slashing with these moves. You're not trying to go through. And the edge of your blade would be this, right? Or the heel, the outer or back of the heel, as it's going through a softer area, like maybe the head, or their arms, because your legs are very strong. If somebody keeps their arms high, maybe you want to aim with that thing there, at the wrist, or there, to fuck up the viability there. So, but what you wouldn't do though, is try to literally push a person that way with that swiping kick, That won't happen. That won't happen. They're too heavy. Okay, too heavy. And you can say, oh, but then train your legs, you fucking wimp. If you keep training your legs beyond the point of certain elasticity, you will have problems with your speed and with your reflexes, depending. You're gonna stiffen. Yeah, now you have more strength, more pushing strength, but now you don't have too much flexibility, and you also have increased weight, which adds to the effort you have to do. And I should know, because I'm a fat fuck. I should know. The effort of me doing things like that puts more strain on my knees than when I was 67 kilos, because I'm now almost 90. I can feel it. So if you fucking bulk up beyond certain thresholds, there are two possibilities for you. You adapt everything to your body type, which means necessarily abandoning certain strategies and adopting new strategies. And there is also going to be a trade-off where, yes, now your pushing strikes are much stronger, and that effect is going to be, affecting your target differently now, because you will be pushing them around a little bit. But now your striking will suffer because it will not be as fast, and you will have a little bit of more restrained movement. You are not able to retract too much. You're not able to extend as fast. And things like that. I'm not saying don't bulk up, it's bad. I'm saying adapt to your body and adapt your body to you. Remember, people will tell you, oh, martial arts is like mind and body. Yes, and spirit, all three. You have to work all three together. If part of that equation is problematic for the other two parts, you need to rethink your approach. And just like agility or agility, flexibility, just like flexibility or anything else, muscle strength will also deteriorate eventually. So it's not like, oh, this martial arts suck because for how long are you gonna be jumping around? Well, yeah, well, first of all, that statement is wrong in so many places, but let's assume that it's correct in everything. The response to that would be, yeah, well, what you're doing, after another 20 years, you're gonna sag, buddy. You're just not gonna have the strength. What are you gonna do then? And it's both can be retained to a larger degree than you imagine. Because, for example, I'm 40, 43, all right? And there are people who are like 80 and are working out and they are more fucking beefed up and faster than me and you. So yeah, you can extend it. But if we're talking about advantages and disadvantages, and that's the point, there is none. It's choice. Do you like feeling large, Cool. You can do that. Do you like feeling small and agile? You can do that. Just adapt your striking, and adapt your techniques and everything. And of course then, the larger the gap between the two extremes that you're creating by changing your body, your physique, you'll have a harder time closing that gap, bridging it. And there may come a point where, yes, maybe you are very fast, but that doesn't mean anything because the other person now in comparison to you is way too strong. The opposite can happen as well, creating weird circumstances where now you're very strong, but you just can't land any punch on that guy. You can barely see them because your whole arm is concealing them, because you're so bulked up that you can't do shit. So both are kind of fucked. That's why balance is important, and that's why, like my fucking Greek ancestors used to say, everything in moderation. Don't bulk up too much. Don't base on being a twig who just jump around too much. It might be valid against mid-range opponents, but you shouldn't only aim at middle-range opponents, because you don't control who your opponent is or how they are, unless we add tactics. But we're not gonna add tactics. Like, for example, maybe I'm in a group and I personally have too much of a gap between that guy, but I have a guy in my end who is like able to do that. So now they have to do that. I'll do the rest. But that is like, bro, don't even go there. Don't even go there. Let's stay in our vacuum, okay? In our lane of safety. Let's stay in the vacuum. You're gonna be in that vacuum. That's gonna be your new place. That vacuum is gonna be your new place. That's it for a few years. For a few years at least. I'm tired of telling you stuff for today. Fuck you. Fuck you. I will probably touch on everything that I said today separately in more detail, and perhaps rephrased, rewarded. Okay? And if I remember being wrong about something, if I remember that, wait a minute, didn't I check that and it came out to be true or false or whatever, trust me, I will tell you. Okay? But so far, at a glance, at least the last time, I don't think I told you anything wrong. And by wrong, I mean as I remember it working, and as I have it in my head, and as I would use it if I had to use it. So next time I will also make sure, because I think about it throughout the week, leading up to the Saturday, to Saturdays, sorry, I think about it and I'm like, did I bullshit them? And in extent, did I bullshit myself? Because remember, this is for me, mostly, not for you, believe it or not. So I'll do the same. And I love it because it keeps my mind going. It keeps me, awake. I'm like, all these things I said, let me go back and try to remember every single thing I know about them. Was I correct? Was I not correct? Did I just talk bullshit? and it keeps me like on my toes, and I like that. I like it. I just sit there, I'm going like, and I'm just like meditating on that shit, in my own way, not a very formal meditation, but in my own way, And you know what else? Good news. It's also working for like getting used to the camera, because look, I've been on camera for no reason, because I could have just like told you all that, right? Which wasn't my goal initially. Initially, again, I wanted to just like demonstrate a few strikes, so that I can get you going. Not so that you could copy them and just monkey them, but so you could get going. Like, oh, yeah, that's how this works, But I only used like 3 examples. I'm pretty sure, just 3 examples. Yeah, that, and then that one. Yeah, just 3 examples. Yeah. Um, but anyways, um, okay, that's it. Fuck you. Go away. I don't want you anymore. I don't want to be here with you anymore. um, yeah, go bother somebody else. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I like that you're here. Okay, and I appreciate you. Even if we fundamentally disagree on every single thing that I ever said, I really like the fact that I can be here on a Saturday and just chill and no gaming and no whatever, and just talk to you about something that I like. And even though it's a fucking monologue, it's still pretty nice to be able to do that. And like in this case, for example, it made my day. I feel like so much better for having done this. You know. So thank you for that, and thanks for watching as well. But I think I'm gonna leave you now for real, like seriously this time. I'll just go play some Guild Wars, or maybe something like that. Maybe Helldivers, maybe like some other things that I have in mind that I want to do with like Neris and Ray, and stuff like that. And anyway, it's been a couple of hours, so it's pretty fine, I would say. And I should have stopped at like 40 minutes or something. That would have been even better, because then I started yapping about all the weird things that I started yapping about. Anyway, even so, next time I'll try to, throughout the week, I'll try to go through whatever I said today and make sure that I didn't fuck up anywhere. Not according to your fucking, martial arts teacher, according to me, you bitch. So, so yeah. And if you think this is like some kind of secret knowledge, or if you think this is like, oh, yeah, it's just a certain style, bitch, I really mixed my martial arts. I went everywhere. I went everywhere. I did a little bit of wrestling. I did extensively Kogaryu, extensively Harangdo, and then mix that with some kickboxing and some Kempo, and mix it with like some Taekwondo and some Tekyon, sorry, I think it's called. And then also mix in there some Aikido, and mix in there a very little Tai Chi, very little. I didn't like that. I couldn't get behind it too much. And so yeah, I've done things. I've done things for real. Like I wanted to do some Kyokushinkai, but I never got a chance. But it doesn't matter. But like I mixed my martial arts, and there is no secret in what I'm saying. There really isn't a secret. There really isn't a secret. It's just stuff. It's just stuff in my head. It's not like I'm giving you, God's gift or whatever. I'm just like, it's just like stuff in my head. That's all. It's not like I'm bestowing like secret knowledge on you. It's just, it is what it is. But man, the importance of building, something with your sparring partner together, going on that journey to improve and to help each other, it is crazy good. It's the stuff anime is made from, dude. You know? Anyways, where's my chair? There it is. There we go. Nice and comfy. And I'll catch you next time. And one last thing, irrelevant, but no Mass Effect the coming week, okay? I'm sorry, no Mass Effect the coming week. No Andromeda. No fucking Andromeda the coming week. Fuck crashing during dialogues. They haven't even fixed that shit. Fuck that. It pissed me off, guys. I'm for real. I might not even continue it. I might finish it in private. Because it will still crash in private. I get it. It's still gonna crash in private. Like if I play it off stream. But the thing is that like some Reddit posts and some forum posts, and then also ChatGPT as well, like all of these sources, they all agree that this thing just hates overlays. It hates OBS. It hates overlays. And it's particularly the dialogues. Like that's it. It doesn't crash otherwise. Fucking dialogues. It wasn't even the mods I had. And I deleted like some of the mods that I fucking wanted. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm very angry. I'm very angry, so you know, at least for the coming week, no Mass Effect. I might start Veilguard. Or I might stream Helldivers or Guild Wars 2. I don't know yet. But it won't be this week is gonna be Andromeda-less, okay? I had enough. I had enough of that fucking game. And the crashing during the dialogues. Like crashing, you know, I'll still crash off stream as I said. Probably I'll crash off stream as well during dialogues. But you know what? Restarting my stream, I hate that. I hate that. Sorry, it just deletes my mood for streaming. Alright. Anyway, sorry for whining. I'll catch you. I'll catch you soon. Have an amazing weekend, everybody, and thanks for being here and keeping me company, okay? I really appreciate it. Okay, catch you later. Bye-bye. Kisses.